On this week's episode of Ride the Lightning, the Tesla unofficial podcast, an update on the federal electric vehicle tax credit situation, Tesla wins a big dealer battle in Missouri, an interview with TeslaCon organizer and 2020 Tesla Roadster prize winner Ben Sullins, and more. Happy holidays, friends. I am Ryan McCaffrey, and this is Ride the Lightning, the unofficial Tesla podcast. It's episode number 123 for December 10th, 2017. I'm very pleased to be with you. I'm fired up. It's been a good week. The holidays are approaching. Daisy the boxer, who snoozes next to me after a puppy play group, she lost 3 teeth today. 3 puppy teeth today. Puppy playgroup / dog park / play with another dog appears to be a wonderful, wonderful way to jar out loose teeth in your puppy. So that was a fun adventure today. Also, I happened to catch this week, I was out walking Daisy and saw a Model 3 coming up the street, one of the streets in my neighborhood, as I was walking Daisy up that same street. So that was pretty cool. I do happen to know that I've got at least a couple of Tesla employees living in the neighborhood because I've met them before. I've run into them. I've seen, like I've either spotted their Tesla jackets and said hello, or I have a Tesla jacket, or they've said hello. So who knows? But whether it's an employee delivery or just an existing Tesla owner who may be friend or family member of a Tesla employee. But great to see them. Hopefully the sightings are going to start to increase. Certainly for me here in San Francisco, I already get reports from friends and fellow Tesla community members that they are becoming more and more of a common sight down in Palo Alto specifically, and obviously over near the factory in Fremont as well. So this is the month. It is happening. I want to tell you real quick, I'm going to mention TeslaCon. I mentioned this last week. In fact, the organizer, Ben Sullins, who runs the Teslanomics YouTube channel, that is his sort of niche in the Tesla community. He is here for an interview today. I recorded something with him the other day in the morning, and it ended up, I'll tell you, I wanted it to be kind of a 15 or 20 minute conversation. I don't want to bore anybody by dragging on too long, but I thought we had a really good conversation. It ended up being about 35 minutes. So just going to do a couple of Ride the Lightning hotline calls. I don't want the show to drag on too long because, again, as I've said a million times, I'm extraordinarily respectful of your time. I don't want to keep you here for too long. I mean, I hope the content is good, but, again, just want to be respectful of your time. So stay tuned later in the show for the Ben Sullins interview because, again, not only is he putting together TeslaCon, but he, of course, runs the Teslanomics channel, which, again, is kind of a unique unique approach to Tesla content. And sort of perhaps most intriguingly, he won the next-gen Tesla Roadster by getting all 50 referrals. So I asked him about that as well. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll just mention again real quick, I touched on this last week. You'll hear more about TeslaCon with Ben, but TeslaCon is the world's first ever web conference for the Tesla and EV community. And it is, like I said, it's happening online. So anyone from anywhere can join. It's happening this Friday and Saturday, December 15th and 16th. If you'd like to register, go to teslacon.online/RTL. And that should auto-log you in to get you, that URL should get you a 20% off discount for the all-access pass. If you are curious about that. Again, I am giving a talk there, so it's going to be on Saturday at noon Pacific. I'm very much looking forward to that. So again, and if for some chance you don't see the discount reflected, the coupon code is RTL20 if you do elect to sign up for that and make sure to get that discount. So let's move on with the Tesla news for this week. Not the busiest week, but also not quite as slow as I was fearing around midweek. I was like, it's looking like a pretty slow news week, but here we go. Tesla did earn a victory. They defeated the Missouri Auto Dealers Association in appellate court. This story comes via Electrek, but ultimately from Missouri radio station KCUR. So if I've got any Missouri listeners out there, and I know you're out there, I know I've got some St. Louis crew. So the appellate court overturned a lower court's decision, which, as KCUR notes, directed the Missouri Department of Revenue not to renew Tesla's motor vehicle dealer license in the state of Missouri. Tesla, as KCUR notes, operates stores on the Country Club Plaza in Kansas City and in University City, which is a suburb of St. Louis. They've also got a service center on Manchester Traffic Way in Kansas City as well. So again, for you Missouri folks. So this is great. This is the appellate court ruling in Tesla's favor. A Tesla spokesperson called the decision, quote, a victory for Missouri consumers who want the choice to learn about and purchase their Tesla in their home state. We have been serving customers in Missouri for almost 5 years and have contributed to the state economy and jobs for Missourians, something that will now continue, end quote. So MATA, that would be the Missouri Auto Dealers Association, they say they are going to keep fighting this, as you would expect, because, hey, let's be even keel here. Tesla would do the exact same thing if the roles were reversed. If Tesla were defeated, they would try to appeal and move it on up, kick it upstairs to the court on the court circuit, and that is exactly what the MATA group is doing. They hope to get this case in front of the Missouri State Supreme Court, but for now, we can check off another state in Tesla's war to win the right to sell directly to consumers all across the United States. So I've used the battle and war analogy, battles per state and war, in an overall war. I think that's still applicable here. This is a victory in a battle in that larger war. So congratulations to my Missouri listeners who will now be able to have sort of full Tesla purchasing and service privileges, all as you should have them. So that is excellent, excellent news. Next up this week, I wanted to talk about the electric vehicle federal tax credit. I mentioned it last week. It was struck a blow by the House, the U.S. House of Representatives, passing a bill without the tax credit in it, that it would be omitted as of December or after December 31st. Well, it's still very much on life support. Its fate is not yet decided. But let's hear from Adam in Sonoma, who calls in to give us a pretty thorough update here. So, Adam, you're on the air.
Hey, just started listening to your December 3rd episode, and I wanted to give you an update about the tax credit situation. I called earlier, and you played my comment, which thank you very much. Appreciate that. So it's actually a tax reform proposal. It's budget. Sort of, but it's a tax bill that the Republicans have proposed. What happened is that the House eliminated the tax credit, period. The Senate left it alone and passed their own version. Now, what will happen is that the two houses, the House and the Senate, will go to a conference to work out their differences. So that means the tax credit is still in danger, because if the House insists upon it being eliminated in return for passing a version agreed upon by both houses, then that's it. If the Senate says we want this in terms of corporate taxes or personal tax rates or whatever, members of the House appointed to the committee who work out the differences might say, okay, well, we'll give you that. In exchange, you need to go our way on the tax credit and kill it. So it's still in a great deal of danger, because the House version eliminated entirely, and it's something that can be negotiated away. So the conferees, the people appointed to the conference committee, have been named from both the House and Senate. They're due to meet very soon, and by the end of the month, there'll be a vote. So I just again encourage people to call Congress, 202-224-3121. You simply give your zip code, and it will connect you to your senators, and you're a member of the House, 202-224-3121. Because again, the tax credit could be bargained away, or the House could insist upon it as is part of any final legislation. Thanks again for the comment last week and for the attention to this important issue and Tesla generally. Again, Adam Bink, Sonoma, California.
So thank you, Adam, for that. The House omitted it. The Senate appears to have left it in. So now they have to reconcile those bills. As Adam explains, it will be a give and take. So we will see what happens. Again, we should know more. There should be an ultimate decision one way or the other. It's got to happen this year. So it's got to happen this month. That means in the next 3 weeks or so, we will have this situation resolved. I mean, hey, regardless of your politics, this affects about 99% of those of you in my audience who are waiting for a Model 3 or intend to purchase an S or an X. And I'm guessing of those people in my audience waiting for a Model 3 or looking to purchase an S or X soon, that's probably a pretty sizable chunk of you. Maybe not all of you are on the list already and planning to buy in 2018, but this definitely affects a substantial chunk of you, including me. It has an absolute effect. I mean, this is going to cost, if it does go away, I'm out either $7,500 or maybe $3,750. I'm out something for sure. So that's unfortunate if that's what it comes to. Here's the thing, though. I guess if this does indeed get killed off, what next? Well, I think then it's going to be up to the Tesla cars themselves to be good enough to sell on their own. Not that they weren't before, but you'd hear uninformed people or fudsters or anti-Tesla folks say, well, they're subsidized by the government, even though, oil companies, as has been pointed out factually many, many times, get exponentially more subsidies as an industry than the electric vehicle industry does. But anyway, when the Model 3 hits when it hits high volume production and is selling like hotcakes, because it's basically the car is guaranteed to sell like hotcakes for at least the next year with a 500,000 strong pre-order list. So when that happens, those same people, those doubters, those fudsters, those kind of anti-Tesla folks, they're not going to be able to use the whole, well, it's subsidized by the government argument anymore. So there's a power in that. There's something good in that, and that they'll just have nothing left if and when the Model 3 is selling huge numbers. But the good news too, at least as far as Tesla is concerned, is that, well, not only has Tesla exhausted a lot of their credits, so that they have gotten something out of it, even if it does bite the dust at the end of December, but Tesla's already been preparing for this in a sense, if not directly, but, maybe they weren't preparing for it to happen December 31st, but they've already prepared for this by always, always, always calling the Model 3 a $35,000 car. Not a $27,500 car, a $35,000 car. So there won't be any sort of bait and switch appearance there for Tesla. It will just be a $35,000 car, and then hopefully, a number of you will have state incentives, as California does. And California, of course, as I've covered before recently, looking to revamp and possibly improve their state-level electric vehicle tax credit program. And, in a weird way, if the tax credit does die right now, it actually will kind of make me feel better, in a sense, about waiting for an all-wheel drive dual-motor car, because before that, the battle in my mind has been, well, the all-wheel drive car might actually end up being a lot more expensive, because by waiting for it versus taking a first production car, I would stand to possibly lose 50% of the tax credit, depending on which quarter Tesla triggers would have triggered the phase out and which quarter the car would have been delivered to me. So now, with the tax credit, if the tax credit indeed does not happen for any Model 3 I buy, because the only way I could have gotten it would have been to have, well, again, presuming it goes away, I would have had to have already received my invitation to configure, and I would have had to have taken a first production car, which, again, I want white interior, I want all-wheel drive, I want air suspension. So those are things that I am, trying to plan for, trying to wait for. So, yeah, my intention was not to take first production, but yeah, with this it does kind of strengthen my willpower to go ahead and wait for that all-wheel drive with the air suspension. If it's just, if the tax credit is just off the table completely, in a way, it makes it easier to wait. So we'll see what happens with this. Again, final resolution should be coming in the next few weeks. Speaking of Model 3, more Model 3 configuration invites have gone out. This is the second batch of them. And the first batch, those deliveries of those cars are reportedly happening next week, which means this week as you listen to the show. And I don't really have too much more to say about that other than it's a good sign. And if you are a California resident who reserved on the morning of March 31st, meaning you went to the store and you were in that as early as you could possibly get, you should probably double check your email every day this week and make sure that there's nothing from Tesla in your spam folder, i.e. that invitation to configure, just to be safe. I mean, hopefully you've already been getting your emails from Tesla if you're signed up for any of their mailing lists or newsletters or anything like that. But just, yeah, you might want to double check that spam folder until you verify that invitation to configure has arrived. If it, again, not just whenever you're expecting it, whether that's soon or if you're not going to get your invitation to configure for a while, but just something to keep in mind whenever that time does come around for you. Next up this week, there's, again, just a couple of more stories here. I'm not going to give a Tesla Semi update every single time that a new order gets publicly confirmed, but we've got a pretty significant pair of orders this week. Sysco, that's Sysco, they're a food service distributor. You've probably seen their trucks on the interstate if you've ever driven sort of between states out on the open road. They ordered 50 Tesla semis, and then Anheuser-Busch, yes, Budweiser, has ordered 40 of them. And Budweiser issued a statement on it. James Sembrot, he is the Senior Director of Logistics Strategy at Anheuser-Busch. He said, quote, "At Anheuser-Busch, we are constantly seeking new ways to make our supply chain more sustainable, efficient, and innovative. This investment in Tesla semi-trucks helps us achieve these goals while improving road safety and lowering our environmental impact. We can't wait to get these trucks on the road and keep leading our industry forward to a greener, smarter future in partnership with some of the world's most innovative companies. The transportation industry is evolving fast, and we're really excited to play a leadership role in driving this evolution by integrating these new technologies across our network." So, very nice statement there by Anheuser-Busch. So, do the quick math, and that is more than 90 publicly confirmed trucks ordered this week, which now puts the total number of orders that, again, are publicly known at around 300, if not more than that. Do the quick estimate math on that. That is over $50 million in revenue from the Tesla semi-truck. So Tesla's clearly winning folks over with this thing. And I'll say this, I think if the trucks really are as good as Elon says they'll be from a reliability perspective, from an operating cost perspective, then this number is probably going to snowball once Tesla actually begins getting these semis on the road and getting them into these companies' hands. So very, very positive news on the Tesla semi front as Tesla expands into an entire new market segment. Finally this week, you'll recall that last week I mentioned Elon Musk tweeting about shooting his original Tesla Roadster into orbit around Mars as the payload for Falcon Heavy. Well, it turns out, I've talked about Elon Musk's sense of humor in the past. Elon may have gotten me on that one. It may have just been Elon's sense of humor getting the best of me and getting the best of some other folks too. But we're not quite sure because Elon's been wishy-washy about it. So a SpaceX engineer says it's happening. But Elon was kind of like, well, maybe I'm joking. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see on this. I mean, it'd be fun if they did it, and potentially it is a great way to advertise Tesla. I mean, you want to talk about free advertising. I mean, that goes into the history books. If Falcon Heavy successfully gets into space and puts puts Elon Musk's original Tesla Roadster into Mars orbit. So, but it could also just be a goof. We'll find out one way or the other in about a month or so. All right, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I've got a 35 or so minute interview with Ben Sullins. I thought it was an interesting conversation. I hope you'll agree. But if you are not interested in listening to it for whatever reason, you can skip ahead about 35 minutes to just going to do a few calls, 1, 2, 3 of them in the Ride the Lightning hotline for this week. So hope you enjoy the Ben Sullins interview, and I'll be back. Stay tuned for that right after this, and then I'll be back with the Ride the Lightning hotline. I'm pleased to welcome Ben Sullins to Ride the Lightning this week. If you don't know Ben, you're about to. That's the point. Ben runs the Teslanomics channel on YouTube and other places, looking at the sort of economics of all things Tesla. He also is the first publicly confirmed winner of the referral program that has netted him a free next-generation Tesla Roadster. So that's obviously very interesting. We'll talk about that. And then TeslaCon is coming up this weekend, the big web conference, which I'm going to be a part of as well. So lots to get to here. Ben, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Ryan. Stoked to be here, man. Love your show.
Thank you kindly. You have carved out your own little niche in the Tesla community, which is really all we can do. We're all here sort of in sharing the same enthusiasm for these cars and this company. And yeah, you've really carved out a unique little space for yourself, which we'll talk about in a second. But in the event that my audience doesn't know much about Ben Sullins just yet, who are you, and how did you come to be part of the Tesla community, Ben?
Yeah, so, I grew up in the tech industry in the late 90s, where you got to kind of see and touch everything. So at a very young age, I got fascinated with technology, and not just websites or apps or things that maybe kids nowadays think of as technology, but phone systems and computers and like the hardware aspect of it. And I really gravitated towards anything that was really innovative in tech very early on. And I spent, a good part of my life, the past 18 years, in working in tech as a data scientist. Very early days, it was like working in Excel, just, crunching some numbers, to working at Facebook, working on algorithms and things that, shape how we use that product. So, I've kind of served all throughout my life in this space. And Tesla was a company, when they started doing stuff, I was absolutely blown away by the tech in the car and what it would enable in the future. I think we're still just scratching the surface of really what's possible, but that is what attracted me to the company. And prior to that, I pretty much thought cars were garbage. I thought they were all like, I mean, if you think about it, if you wanted navigation in a Honda Civic or something, you had to buy a DVD and spend $2,000 and download these maps. Meanwhile, I have in my hand a phone which is 100 times more powerful, and you're looking around going, how can I not fit the amazing tech in this little tiny device somewhere in this giant dashboard?
Yeah, I remember when I bought my Infiniti, which is to date the only new car I've ever had. It's 2006, so I bought it in late 2005. There was, exactly as you say, a $2,000 option for this pop-up screen with navigation on it. And I'm like, I'm not paying $2,000 for that. And thankfully, history has proven me correct on that.
No, exactly. So when the Model S came out is when I really started paying attention. A friend of mine had got one, and I was I was enchanted very early on.
And so you hadn't seen, or really the Roadster sort of slipped under your radar?
I knew about it, but I didn't. It was $100,000. It was something for a celebrity. It wasn't.
Sure.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't something that I was feasible in my future. Even the Model S for the first several years was, I would say, not very reasonable of a purchase for someone like me. I grew up without a lot of nice things, so I didn't really ever expect to have nice things. So yeah, even the Model S was I considered out of my reach for a long time. And
how long have you had it at this point?
2 years. It's actually in the shop right now for its 2-year annual service.
And so this is something I'm always curious of. How many miles are on it? Because I tend to find that a lot of Tesla owners put way more miles on their Teslas than they did their previous cars.
Well, okay, so mine is pretty normal. Now, I bought it used with 10,000 miles on it, which I don't know.
That's nothing.
I know. I was like, this car's brand new. And now it has just over 30,000 miles on it. But, to your point there, I work from home, so I don't really have a reason to drive, 20, 30 miles every day kind of thing. So I probably drive less, but there's just over 30,000 miles on it right now.
Well, 20,000 miles in 2 years of working from home is still pretty impressive. You're getting out and using it, which is great.
Today we're going on a road trip, and why else would we have to take the loaner Tesla that they gave us, and we love it because with our son, he can't sit in the car for 6 hours,
right?
So stopping every 3 hours or so isn't a bad deal.
What'd they give you, out of curiosity?
A Model S 85, so it actually has more range than my 60.
Oh yeah, so you'll be hitting all the superchargers. You'll be all set. It'd be a nice cruise, especially this time of year too.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So let's talk about Teslanomics, your channel. At what point do you go, hey, I can apply the data science that I'm doing I can fuse it with my enthusiasm for Tesla?
Well, I don't know if it was kind of an accident, as most, I guess, great discoveries are. I don't know if this qualifies as a great discovery, but in my life it was. And basically what happened was I had left my full-time job as the chief data officer for a company called Pluralsight that does online learning. And because I wanted to spend more time with my son, and I was making online courses for data science. In fact, you can still go on Pluralsight and on LinkedIn Learning, watch any of my courses on, all kinds of different database programming languages or big data stuff and all that. So I was really focused on making those, and I started to do that. Then I started making YouTube videos as like teasers for my online courses. So the idea was, hey, I'll give you this little tip and maybe you'll want to learn more. And then you'll go watch, the online course, which I earn a royalty off. So that was the idea. I quickly learned that nobody cares about this stuff on YouTube. I mean, in YouTube terms, nobody cares,
Right.
Then my wife asked me, hey, you kind of sold me on this idea that we're saving gas money by having a Tesla. Prove it to me. You're a data guy. Show me the numbers, right? So she was kind of holding me accountable. And so I made a little video where I pulled together how much we had actually spent, our electricity bill on our Tesla, and then compared that to what we would have spent on gas if we had purchased gas instead. Yeah. And I did the math. It was about 40% savings. And it was a really bad video. It's still up there. I won't take it down. If you go to my channel, you'll see it. It was in 720p. It was filmed with a webcam. I had horrible lighting. It was ridiculous. And it was basically just me walking you through a spreadsheet I put together. So it wasn't really like in video production terms, like the most cinematic or engaging. But within the first week, the video had something like 200,000 views on it.
Wow.
And I was blown away. I mean, I just kind of haphazardly did it to show my wife what the numbers were, and lo and behold, it started this whole thing. So that was really the spark. And then a couple months later, I did a few more videos, or not even a couple months, but I experimented with more videos. I still wanted to believe that people just liked me talking about data science, and so I did a couple more data science videos. crickets. Nobody cares. Absolutely. So then I did another Tesla video and it went nuts. I did another Tesla video. It went nuts. I'm like, okay, fine. I love Tesla. I love data. Why don't we, put these two things together? Why don't we because nobody would really, and I don't really know of anyone now doing it where, what I do, I don't look at, like I vlog sometimes, but I'm really bad at it, things like that. Right. I just look at things like production numbers and predicting when you'll get your Model 3 or how much things will cost. Right. So I just kind of married the two and, this past year it's been really fun and it's been a good journey.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if the 200,000 hits on that first video is people like me who are trying to sort of convince their significant others that this is a good. Because I think I need to show that video to my wife to help sell it in because she's like, oh, we're spending. You're going to spend so much money on this car, but it's just like, to your point, we're gonna save so much on fuel costs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's so, in fact, that's kind of what I'm doing with the channel now. I realized, because I've done a lot of other videos with things like the EV industry, right? And trends. And those are like people like me and you that are into this. Yeah, that's cool. We'll watch that. But the general public only really cares about themselves. So the video has to be like how you will save money, right? It's something that if you're watching it, it has to be personal to you. So I'm actually trying to focus. This is one of my goals for the new year is to really hone in on, each video being something of tangible value that somebody can take away from it, right? They can make a better decision about, purchasing something. And then that's kind of that's what data science is really all about anyways, right? Having more information to make better decisions with. So.
Yeah. And you've committed yourself full time to this now.
Yeah. I've stopped doing online courses. I actually have 3 more I need to go record, but, cause I signed contracts for those a while ago, but yeah, I mean, and I, honestly, it's a good time. I have in total between Pluralsight and LinkedIn, 29 online courses on.
Wow.
So I have a lot. You can learn everything from like Excel stuff or like how to make good presentations with data in them, or you can learn things like how to set up HBase and manage your Hadoop cluster, like really advanced big data stuff. So, yeah, I've got a good. I've spent a lot of time in there. I'm still in love with data. I still geek out on it. But this Tesla stuff is just so much fun.
Well, and that's really, I think, the secret to it is I think the only reason anybody listens to me is because I'm doing the same thing you're doing in the sense that, I come from a 15-year background of working in enthusiast media with video games. And I, like you, fell in love with Tesla. So I take that same sort of approach of, bringing that sort of enthusiastic take on what's going on in the world of Tesla to Ride the Lightning. And, if you don't believe in it, like if you're not enthusiastic about it, the way you are about data science and the way I am about sort of the evolution of this company, I think the audience sees through it instantly. Like you have to be genuine. And it's great to see that you've been able to grow it into a full-time thing. And in fact, you've been able to grow it into a free hypercar, Ben. A free hypercar. So I got to ask you, when the latest referral program started that had the, sort of secret unlockable prize tiers, did you have any inkling whatsoever that you might actually get I believe it's 55 referrals to win it?
I thought it was kind of a joke. Like when I saw that there, because I don't think when they first did it, I don't think it went all the way to 100% on the little bar chart on the app. But so I just read it and said, 2% for every referral. So great. I just need 50 more and we'll be there. It was kind of like, ha ha ha. And I even tweeted out some kind of funny things very early on, like, yep, just 48 more to go. Right. Like, yeah, we'll see. And the problem was that they were limiting it to like 5 each quarter or, every couple months almost.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, there's no way. This will take 10 years, and it ends at the end of the year. So it's not possible. And then I actually had a call with the guy that runs the referral program at Tesla. And because he was asking for feedback on it, I said, hey, why? Like, you don't have to have the next secret level available for me and everyone else to continue referring. Like,
sure.
Just let us keep doing it. And then as you come up with the levels, we already get it. Like,
Yeah,
great.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Like, why would you stop it? And he actually said, that's a great idea. I have a call with, I have a meeting with Elon tomorrow. I'm gonna see what he says, and I think we'll be able to do this. And then 2 days later, bam, you could now refer as many people as you want. And I mean, from then on, it was like, okay, now there's a shot. It's like the Dumb and Dumber. Like, you're saying there's a chance, right?
So you're telling me there's a chance.
So once they unlocked it, and I have a chart of this. You can see it. I think on Teslarati they had a post where I sent them the chart. You can see just like it's very level growth, and then that day, bam, skyrocket. And that was really because like I had actually created a wait list because people had been emailing me saying, "Hey, I'm trying to use your code, it's not working." Yeah. And I said, okay, hang on. I just had a call with them. Give me like a week to wait to order your Tesla, and the code will work again. Trust me. And so I had this kind of big backlog of people that had been emailing me, and I've been emailing back with them, helping them, answering questions about charging at home and stuff like that. And then once they opened it up, it was like the next day there were 5 more, and then I averaged like 2 or 3 a day.
That's incredible. I mean, because it's. I don't know how many subscribers are on your channel at this point, but it's I don't own a Tesla yet. I'm waiting for my Model 3, and I've been able to take. I've had very generous people offer up their codes to use, and I've been able to amass a decent amount for them, so they get the prizes, and I was always happy to take the lottery ticket's chance at winning a P100D, but. Yeah, the fact that you got that many that fast, just like it still astounds me. Like I'm still not sure how the heck you did it. I mean, I tip my cap.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I think, and I don't have a lot of subscribers or a lot of views in like general YouTube terms. I'm a very small channel, like probably not even on the radar of anybody at YouTube. But I think everyone is just pretty passionate about it, right? And the videos that I make are very personal, that help inform people about their buying decisions. So I think a lot of people are watching it basically like they're coming to me on my channel to learn more because they already want to buy a Tesla. Like, I've talked to other brands since then because they're kind of jaws on the floor. Like, you sold $6 million in Teslas in like 3 months. They're like, yeah, I want to sell $6 million worth of products. It's like, well, you have to have a groundbreaking, world-changing product first in order for that to be possible. But so people were already, the pump was already primed by the time they landed on my channel, and then from then, it was just, hey, this guy's video is really helpful. It helps him out. I get $1,000 off. So it's a win-win all around. And one thing I did, which I think not a lot of other YouTubers do, I don't know if you do it here on the podcast, but I have an email list that I send all of my episodes to. And so with that email list, as soon as the referral program was open again to unlimited, up to 55, I started emailing them like, hey, this just opened up. Here's the deal. If you want to use it, like I'll happy to jump on a Skype call with you for 10 minutes if you have questions. And so I started emailing them like, yes, this does benefit me in a kind of, non-direct way. Or, not like I get dollars for each referral, but, this also benefits you greatly.
Yeah, of course.
So I built like a little community over an email list of people that were already, interested in this kind of thing. So maybe that might have been something that I don't know if too many other people did, in terms of like making sure that if somebody was interested in buying, that me and them, had a connection, and I was continuing to provide value to them. So then when they went to buy, of course they were like, yeah, I'll use your code. So.
I say good for you. So you put in the work. You went to Tesla and said, and because I find this in life too, is one of the mantras I live by in life is, you never know what you get if you just ask nicely. And you went and asked Tesla nicely to make a logical change to the program. They did it. And you worked one-on-one, and you put in the time and provided value to your viewers. And I think that's just fantastic. So you really earned this. And I think that's phenomenal. So that brings us to walk me through the moment when the final referral comes in and the car and like, is it real at that point? Does it feel like you're not living in the real world? Like, what does the head of Tesla's referral program reach out to you? What happens that day?
Well, so I made a video about it, and it was, so here was the thing. When I was one referral away, it could happen at any moment. And I was averaging 2 or 3 a day. So It was like, this could be 5 minutes from now. It could be, over dinner tonight, whatever. And I wanted to make sure that I recorded my reaction to it, my real, not me acting, but my real reaction. So this is like the hardest thing. This is like that marshmallow test they did on kids, right? If you like wait,
you wait. Yeah.
So what I did was I came into my studio and I would fire up all the cameras and everything, and then I would check. So I even move the app on my phone to a different folder so I wouldn't see it and I wouldn't check it inadvertently, any of that stuff. So I made sure to record my initial or my actual reaction when I saw it. And it was, it was funny. I did not want it to be like, in your face, I'm the best, because that's just not me.
Nobody.
But
nobody likes that.
Yeah, right. But I was pretty emotional about it. And the thing was, like you said, it wasn't real. At the time, the next gen Roadster,
the car hadn't been revealed. Yeah.
Yeah. All we had was this like mock-up from some designer. So it was still like, yay. Okay. Now what? Who knows? Like,
yeah, you didn't know. We didn't know what it looked like, and we definitely didn't know the specs that came around and blew everybody away.
Exactly. So
then, all right. So then, fast forward me to that night at the semi reveal.
Yeah.
There was some speculation, certainly from listeners on my show, and I think a lot of people were thinking, is the Roadster going to make an appearance because Elon had teased, that hey, everybody should come to the semi thing. So when the car rolls out after the semi presentation, now walk me through what's going on with you when that car comes off the back of the semi.
Man, I think if you watch,
you were there, to clarify, you were at the event.
Yeah, I was in the second row, which, but kicking myself for not being in the front row to get to shake Elon's hand. But anyways, I was in the second row, and me and a few of the other folks like Zach and Jesse from Now, we had dinner beforehand, and we were talking through all the ideas of what could be unveiled, like what's going to be so mind blowing, right? And we actually came up with all of them that they unveiled, but only thought that one of those would be the thing.
Right.
It was like mega charger. Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. You're going to need to charge a semi. Supercharger probably not going to cut it. Okay, like, yep, there it is, mega charger. How about pickup truck? Okay, there's a sketch of it. I guess that's announcing it. Okay, that's another one. How about the Model Y? It's like, no, that'll be a whole separate event. They'll have pre-orders. That'll be a big thing like the Model 3 was.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no way. Well, what about the Roadster? Yeah, that would make sense because it's not going to be a mass market car. They're not going to make, hundreds of thousands of these. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you could unveil it here because it's really going to be a specialty item. And yeah, okay, so that does make sense. And then we got there, and then as soon as the plaid thing showed up on the screen,
you knew.
We all knew. Yeah, I was like, oh, I think if you watch the live stream, you can hear me yelling louder than the Beastie Boys song that was playing. My wife even texted me like, was that you? And it probably was. That was an absolute avalanche of emotion. And then as they announced the details, it was just, it just was nonstop. I was completely like, it was bursting out of me. How excited.
Understandable.
Yeah. And it was really weird. It felt almost like my wedding day or something because everybody was coming up to me. Like I couldn't get 10 feet without somebody coming up to me wanting to take a picture and say hi and congratulations. It was like, it was amazing. So, and then I got to ride in it, which was a whole other thing that went very quick. It was over before I knew it.
Have you been in a P100D or even a P90D?
Yeah, I've been.
So how did the Roadster compare then?
It felt so. If you were to be in a P100D compared to my 60,
oh yeah,
it's like that, right? But the next level beyond the P100D, like I can't even, it's hard to even, yeah, I guess that's maybe a good analogy if people have been in that, but it's hard to even imagine because it's like I've not been in a Bugatti or, you know, one of these other supercars. So it's really hard to compare. But yeah, I would say the difference between like my 60 and a P100D is about the same as from the P100D to this. I mean, it was,
wow.
It was, yeah.
It's absurd.
It's like a roller coaster, you know, you just can't help from smiling and yelling. So
yeah, that's, oh man, that's so great. So before we move on to TeslaCon, which is, of course, you're not here for your health. That's why we're here, to promote TeslaCon. But I got to ask you, so I was super happy when I saw your tweet that said you got it. But then I don't know why. My first thought was, gee, I wonder if Ben is thinking about the taxes on this thing. So have you started saving for the, you know, you've got it, because that's going to be a very large tax bill.
Well, you know, I think it depends. So I've actually reached out to Tesla. I haven't heard. I think they're so unofficially talking to some people there. They said they're going to try to figure out a way to make that burden less.
Oh, good.
I don't know what that means, but hopefully it's something that's nice. But which, by the way, I've actually got 57 referrals in the current program. Somehow 2 additional ones slipped in there. So technically I have a 104% discount.
So now now your referral should count towards the tax burden.
Exactly. I'm like, hey,
point, right?
Yeah. I mean, 4% on 250 grand is a good chunk. So why don't we take that and apply it there? I don't know. Yeah. So the big question is whether or not this is a gift, or if it is, which I hope it's not, if it's a discount on a product, which is how it's worded in the thing. So if that holds up, then I'm essentially just paying normal taxes as if I were to buy it. Right?
Oh, good. Okay.
Which, when I check the DMV website, come out to about $21,000 here in California.
A lot, but manageable, you know, especially you've got 3 years to save for it.
Yeah. Totally doable. I mean, yeah. But now if it were the gift tax, I think that's upwards of 40%. So that would be a different ballgame. You know, we're like second mortgage on my house kind of thing just to pay for this. But yeah, definitely on my mind. Hoping the wording that they put in there, you know, holds up with kind of the accounting of it, and that I just have to pay the regular taxes, in which case, yeah, hopefully I can save it by then. If not, you know, a small loan or something wouldn't be a bad idea.
All right. And then real quick, are you keeping the car, or are you going to take the opportunity to flip it for a ridiculous profit? Because that's potentially, you know, I mean, I don't want to be so presumptuous, if I can get the word out, to call it life-changing money. But I mean, that's, you know, you could flip the car for a substantial sum as well. So have you thought about what you're going to do?
The first thing is I promised my wife we're going to take a trip up the coast. So nice. And you can drive from my house in San Diego to your house in San Francisco on a single charge, which is nuts.
And please do, by the way, because I would like a crack at this car. Please.
Yes. We'll do it. Now, there are a few. So I feel like I owe it to everybody that follows me on YouTube and everything to make some videos with this. Like, I really have to do that. So probably going to shoot a ton of videos. Probably ridiculous. I'm really bad at reviewing cars. I'm not a good car guy. So
I'm good at it. I review things for a living, Ben.
There you go.
I've been doing it for 15 years. So, you know, if you want a review done, we can put it on your channel. We'll do it.
Yes, I'm in.
I need like 3 days with it.
Yes. We'll do some stuff for sure. So I want to do a good review. I'll do kind of my stupid review where I'll does it fit a surfboard? How can I fit my child seat in it? Things like that. Which, you know, just kind of dumb questions, but funny. And so I'll try to do those things. And then take my wife up the coast. There are several other YouTubers that want to do videos with me in the car in LA. So I'm going to go hang out with them and maybe do some fun stuff. So I'm really going to try to use it as much as I can. And then after all said and done, I don't know, maybe 6 months in, you know, we'll kind of see whether or not it makes sense to keep it. I mean, 620 miles is pretty amazing. And, you know, surprisingly enough, Ryan, the insurance on it isn't that crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Like, just take a wild guess. How much would you guess insurance is on this car?
Well, I mean, I would think that the insurance companies have no idea yet. I presume you're using comps for other hypercars, but I mean, I would think it has to be at least double whatever you're paying for your insurance now.
Yeah, definitely. So it comes out to about $250 a month, which,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, that's a far cry from my Model S, but still, like when I first thought about it, I was like, oh man, this is going to be like, $1,500 a month in insurance. And when there were actually a few people that reached out to me who work for insurance companies, and I reached out to my insurance agent, and she said, my insurance agent said, yeah, I have no data on this. There's nothing, like, I can't look it up, but let's assume you're getting a Lamborghini.
Right.
Then that, depending on that, she said it's between $2,000 and $4,000 per year. And then the other guy gave me a quote of $2,200 per year. And so I was like,
okay.
I mean, it's actually far more reasonable than I thought for a $250,000 car.
Yeah, I mean, and and it's somewhat offset again by fuel savings to bring it all the way back to your original first video ever. It's not too bad. So, all right, we've only got a few minutes here. I'm running out of time with you. TeslaCon is coming up this weekend, Friday and Saturday. What is TeslaCon, Ben? Who have you got lined up for it, and what made you want to put it together?
Yeah, so this is the first ever that I'm aware of web conference for all the Tesla and EV fans out there. And the idea is that, you recall when we were up in San Francisco, we had this kind of fun time in this room. We all recorded a bunch of videos and did this fun stuff. And I and everyone else that posted about that got a lot of feedback like, oh man, you should do a conference. I would love to come. Let's all hang out. I'd love to, interact with you guys and all this. And then, I sat down and started to think about how that would be possible, because something about me, I love bringing people together. I'm very extroverted in that way. That's like a big part of my personality. And so I wanted to make something that we could all attend. But a physical conference is like really expensive and time consuming to put together, like insanely so. And then on top of it, not everybody can really participate, because if you could imagine flying to California, if you're in, say, Sweden, is a pretty expensive ticket, right? Just for this one event. Then on top of it, you wouldn't get really to ask questions. I mean, I looked at a physical conference and I thought, man, this is going to cost a ton of money for us. And it's going to really filter out a lot of people that can't come, because it's just, you're looking upwards of like $1,000 just to attend.
Oh, sure. Hotel and food and your time away from. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Even if like it was in LA and you were coming down from San Francisco, you're still spending a lot of money. So I had attended a developer summit recently called Hack Summit, and it was on a platform called Crowdcast. And it was an online developer summit. I think we had 80,000 people in attending. It was nuts. And it was all about, open source coding and all this stuff. And that platform I loved, because what it did is it gave us the ability to have real Q&A that was community driven, meaning people vote on the questions and then people can comment on them. And then when a speaker answers a question, it's timestamped. So when you watch a replay, you can actually jump right to the answer to a question that you're interested in. So I thought that was like, this is actually better than an in-person conference, because at the in-person conferences, you're always going to be stuck with somebody asking a random question that nobody cares about, and then the speaker doesn't have any more time, and you're done, and you missed out. I'm still upset at that lady that did that to Neil deGrasse Tyson when I was there. But anyways, so I looked at it and I said, wow, this is actually a better experience. Anybody in the world can attend because it's online, and we also can have speakers from all over the world. And so this made a lot more sense to me as a platform to bring the entire community together, not just those that like live in California or, can make it here in a reasonably easy trip. During the conference, we have on Friday a pre-conference workshop hosted by Roger Pressman. I don't know if you know Roger from EV Annex. But
he's been on this show, yes, when he was out promoting his Model 3 book.
Exactly. So he's going to basically be going through that book in detail and other questions that people have about this. He has a presentation, and this is a real good opportunity for people to learn everything they need to know about owning a Tesla and owning an EV in general. So the beautiful thing about this is that every 30 minutes, he's going to stop and answer questions. So it's not, you get the book and then you get, the guy that wrote the book to really dig in deep with any questions that people have. So I've got a lot of people signed up just for that alone. And that's a half-day session on Friday.
Excellent.
Then on Saturday, it's the full conference. And so the keynote speaker is Robert Llewellyn from Fully Charged, who I'm sure you're aware of, who
yes.
I remember when I first saw his show, I'm like, how is this guy so good? And then I realized, oh, he's like a famous actor from the UK. There you go. Great. So there's that. So he's starting out pretty early West Coast time. It's going to be at 7 a.m. West Coast time, which for him in London is something like 3 or 4 p.m.
Oh yeah,
and then we're going to run through there. We've got Zach and Jesse from Now You Know. We've got you. We've got Trevor and Ken from Model 3 Owners Club. We are having a VIP session. I don't know if you've heard this yet. We have a VIP session with Kim from Like Tesla.
Excellent.
And her husband, who will reveal he will reveal his identity, which he's never done. And this is only for the VIP ticket holders, which we're limiting to 10 people. So that's kind of a special thing. That'll be over lunch. And then we have some community sessions and some additional sessions in the afternoon. So the whole thing is online. Replays will be available instantly. I think it's going to be so much fun. And I hope you and your audience and everyone can make it there.
Yeah, so for tickets, go to TeslaCon.online. And for my audience, you can use the code RTL20 as all one word to get 20% off of your access pass. So looking forward to it. I've got to get my speech ready to go.
Yep.
And I'll be ready. It'll be good. It's going to be fun. I appreciate the invite, Ben. I thank you for having me at this thing. It's going to be good.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, I love your show. I think you do a great job. I mean, I always point to you as probably the most knowledgeable Tesla person I know. Because I don't know, every time we talk, I always learn something new. So yeah, happy to have you.
Well, it's happy to be there. Yeah, it's my personality where I don't have a wide range of interests, but the things I care about, I go like all the way down the rabbit hole. So whether it's DeLoreans or Teslas or baseball or boxer dogs, I've got Daisy here laying snoozing next to me. But that's just enough about me. This is about you. But it's great to have you, Ben. Looking forward to TeslaCon again. TeslaCon.online, and check out Ben's channel on YouTube, Teslanomics. So, Ben, thank you so much, and I will see you at TeslaCon this weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
I want to thank Ben Sullins one more time for joining me. That was very kind of him to take 35 minutes out of his day to talk Tesla with me. Looking forward to TeslaCon this weekend. So now that brings us to the Ride the Lightning hotline. Just 3 calls here. I got a lot more than that. So, but again, otherwise the show's going to be like 2 hours if I do all these. So I'll save a lot of these for next week. Some of them could end up finding their way into the next edition of the Ride the Lightning hotline, rather the Patreon bonus episode, which, by the way, the December edition of that is up now. If you happen to be interested in that, because it's pretty good. We got a lot of excellent. In fact, I think more calls than ever. I think this was the longest special episode yet. In fact, I will mention the callers on the December Patreon exclusive bonus episode. We got Jason from Newport Beach, Matt from Raleigh, Chris from Ontario, Vahe from Vegas, Matt from Bowling Green, Stephen from Ontario, Nikolai from Germany, Mitch from Marin County. The topics covered on that Patreon exclusive episode, if you're curious, include a good Tesla service experience, redesigning the Model S and X, storing the Model 3 outside in cold winter climates, what's the deal with analyst conference calls, the Model 3's so-called token of appreciation that we're waiting for, inventory car shortages, switching, whether or not you should switch from the 3 to the S, all kinds of stuff, charging in Europe, the whole kit and caboodle. So that's for $10 and up patrons, if you are curious about that. So for this week, though, again, 3 calls here. Let's kick it off with Rob in Warrington. He's got his own theory on how the next generation Tesla Roadster gets that 200 kilowatt battery pack into a sports car. So Rob, you're on the air.
Hi Ryan, it's Rob from Warrington. I've been listening to the show for a few months now and been loving it, especially the hotline calls. One of the things which has been brought up a couple of times is the Generation 2 Roadster battery. And somebody had a theory that the battery might be 2 Model S P100 batteries on top of each other. I've got a slightly different theory because if you add those two batteries together, you'd have, well, they're normally about 4 inches, so that would make about an 8-inch skateboard underneath your seats in the Roadster, and it is quite a low car. I don't honestly think you could have an 8-inch battery, 8-inch deep battery between the bottom of the seat and the ground, especially when you look at the interior shots. I had another idea that maybe it'd be packaged around the cabin in a normal center console like you would have a transmission tunnel on a conventional car. But again, the side interior photos, there isn't really enough space for that. Next idea, possibly over the front and rear axles, but then you'd have, it might damage the handling, or you'd also have heat build-up from the motor. So the only other theory I came up with was there may be a new battery chemistry coming from Tesla, because the Master Plan Part 1 cars used the 18650 cells and the 2170s. Maybe the Master Plan Part 2 cars, or Part 2 cars, and the Semi might use a new chemistry to help bring down the cost and get towards Elon's magical $100 per kilowatt hour. Let me know what you think. Loving the show. Thanks again. Bye.
That is entirely possible, Rob. I mean, after all, the Roadster isn't due until 2020, and the Semi's not due until 2019, so that's far enough away where there could very well be prototypes of new battery cell chemistry that's actually working in the vehicles that we saw at the event last month. And new chemistry could certainly help explain the incredible range numbers from both the Semi and the Roadster. Sadly, we'll probably have to wait quite a while to get a proper answer to this, but I like your thinking. Thank you so much for the call. Let's go now to Matt in Raleigh, who has a question about how he might best go about charging his upcoming Model S. Matt, you're on the air.
Hey, Ryan, this is Matt in Raleigh. Thanks for the podcast. We continue to enjoy listening to it. I know you've been asking for people to call in who are taking delivery of their Model 3, and although we don't fall into that exact category, we did use your cousin's code to purchase a Model S on October 31st of this year, just getting in under the deadline to get the $1,000 off as well as the free supercharging. So thank you for sharing that code, and we certainly hope you get something good out of that. We'll be taking delivery of the Model S on December 27th, so they're trying to sneak us in before the end of the year so we can hopefully enjoy the tax credit. Hopefully the tax credit is not going away. But if it does, we should be able to take advantage of it before the end of the year. We're also expecting our first child on December 29th, so we're getting 2 big Christmas presents this year. And we picked the Model S over the Model 3 just for the extra space. But I had a specific question for you about what your plans are in terms of charging. We ended up buying the Tesla charger to install in our garage because I didn't like the idea of plugging and unplugging the car every time I went in and out. And I'm curious what your plans are for your own Model 3 when you get that, if you're planning on getting a permanent charger installed, and when you might be planning on doing that, or if you're just going to use the cable that comes with the car. So thanks again for the podcast, and look forward to hearing your answer.
First of all, Matt, congratulations on both the car and, more importantly, the baby. Between Christmas, if you happen to be celebrating, the car and the baby, it's going to be a heck of a week for you, man. And heck, Christmas and or delivery of the car might have to take a back seat, although, pardon the unintentional pun there, I just realized that. But yeah, I mean, those things might have to take a back seat if the baby happens to arrive a bit early, which babies are known to do from time to time. But to answer your question, you have actually had a direct impact on that question and on my charging situation. I have to confess, I haven't touched base with my cousin Pat to see how many referrals we've got right now with his code, because we've been using it for, I don't know, what is it, like a month, maybe 2 months. But you using it means we'll have at least one, and one means that I'll be able to get that matte black special edition Tesla high power wall connector. So let me start by saying thank you. I mean, honestly, that's huge for me. I mean, that's a $500 thing that I don't have to buy now. I'm not sure if I would have. I know this has been, come up on the show a lot. Like I plan on having the car long enough where I would want to have it. So I think I was definitely leaning towards getting it, but thank you, Matt, because it looks like I'm going to get one now. So that's fantastic. But I'll tell you, I already have a NEMA 1450 outlet, which I have mentioned on the show before. But what I'm going to do with this now, I'll go ahead and pay an electrician to come out and properly wire up that high power wall connector, since I don't have to pay for the actual high power wall connector. And remember though, because this came up, some listeners pointed this out. This is just definitely a key piece that could save you some money in your budget. You can use either Tesla's official wall mount piece, that's like $25, to just hang up your universal mobile connector that comes with the car. So then you don't have to pay really anything else other than that $25 wall mount piece. Or you could go to Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, and you could just buy a garden hose wall mount, that's used to tie up, hang your coiled up. That's the word I was looking for. Jeez, your coiled up garden hose on a wall as well. So you could pick up one of those for probably like $5, or even potentially just make something yourself. So the point is, you definitely don't have to get the high power wall connector if you don't want to. But like I was just saying with my situation, if you're planning on keeping your Model S for a long time, it certainly can't hurt to have that higher charging rate there available to you for when you need it, because surely you're probably going to need it at some point here or there. Not every day, probably hardly any days, really. But, every now and again, you might need that higher charging rate. So it's up to you whether you think it's worth the money or not. It's $500 plus an electrician to come out and do it. Although, again, you might even say it's more just $500 because, you got to get some sort of outlet put in. So you have to pay the electrician no matter what to either do the NEMA 1450 outlet or do the Tesla wall connector. So, but anyway, it's not cheap. It's $500 to do that wall connector, should you elect to go that route. But there are, as I said, budget-friendly alternatives. But cheers either way. It's going to be a heck of a December for you, so congrats. And one more call one more. I was right. Lawton from Chicago. We've our friend Lawton. I think Lawton might be the longest tenured caller on this podcast from when I first started doing calls back near the very, very beginning. So Lawton's calling in about why he thinks doing the Semi and the Roadster reveal together, why that was a very smart move on Tesla's part. So Lawton, you're on the air, sir. Take it away.
Hi, Ryan. It's Lawton from Chicago. Wanted to share my thoughts on the Tesla Semi event. Very few companies in Tesla's position, being Model 3 production purgatory, will announce a brand new product such as the Semi. This is a smart move, as the Semi is a new product category that won't affect sales of current models. The deposits will be a great way to not only raise funding for Semi development, but also to promote interest from the trucking industry. For instance, since Walmart has placed deposits, this will in turn put pressure on companies such as Amazon to follow suit, rather than letting Walmart gain a competitive edge from reduced shipping costs. Even fewer companies would pre-announce a product such as the Roadster 2 or 3 years in advance that could potentially take away from sales of the top-of-the-line Model S. I love how Tesla's mission to promote the advent of sustainable transport energy is taking precedence, putting further pressure on the entire auto industry from supercars to semi-trucks to keep up. Elon wasn't kidding about the event. Mind blown. Thanks for sharing Tesla enthusiasm every week. I was especially moved by your pure bliss, key in the canister moment from your first time driving the Model 3. I can't wait for all of us to feel the same experience when we get our Model 3s. Look forward to your thoughts.
Thanks as always, Lawton. It's interesting you brought this up because, as you heard earlier in the show, Ben mentioned this same exact thing during our interview. I wonder if Tesla will publicize it if and when the limited run of 1,000 Founder Series Roadsters gets sold out, because since those customers have to pay in full upfront, That is $250 million in revenue for Tesla once those Founders Series cars sell out. Also, on a related note to your call, I bet the Model Y event is going to be pushed to the back burner, even if it was on the company's roadmap at all for 2018, because there's just no way that they're going to introduce another mass production car until they significantly clear the backlog of the Model 3 and get the production ramp sorted. Now, of course, those two things go very much hand in hand. Still, though, if you take a step back, think of the Semi event this way. What other company of any kind could generate Tesla levels of buzz from introducing a semi-truck to the market? And the answer, I think, is no one. Not Lamborghini, not Ferrari. There is nobody who could have done a semi-truck that would have generated the crazy amount of buzz and chatter that Tesla has. It's just, it's wild what this company has been able to do and continue to do. Their profile is only getting bigger by the day. All right, that does it for the Ride the Lightning hotline. I forgot to mention at the front of it that I would love for you to participate. Give me a call toll-free anytime on the Ride the Lightning hotline. All you're doing is leaving a message, so call anytime, day or night. The toll-free number is 1-888-989-8752. That's 1-888-989-TSLA. You can also Skype that number, or you could just record something on your smartphone's voice memo recorder and email me that file to teslapodcast@gmail.com. But I do thank lifeonrecord.com for providing the Ride the Lightning hotline, making it super easy to call in. So, of course, if you know someone special with an upcoming birthday, anniversary, graduation, or some other special occasion, you can give them a unique gift of recorded voices from friends and family telling them why they're special. The recordings can be podcasted or put onto a keepsake. And again, that's lifeonrecord.com if you'd like to learn more. All right. That wraps it up for the bulk of the show this week. A few parting thoughts for you, a few plugs right after this. As you heard me mention earlier, I'm on Patreon. If you are curious to look more into that, if you enjoy the show, you'd like to support my efforts, again, nothing's ever walled off from you. The Patreon content is only additive, but so it's clearly just if you'd like to support me, I would be grateful if you'd do so. Take a look at the Patreon page. It's patreon.com/Tesla Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at DMC_Ryan. As I mentioned earlier, you can email me anytime, teslapodcast@gmail.com. The referral code, if you are buying an S or an X, you can get free unlimited lifetime supercharging by using my cousin Patrick's code. And who knows? If the Roadster program is going to continue into 2018, which I kind of figure it won't. But if it happens to, boy, it would be nice to go for it. But either way, get yourself free unlimited lifetime supercharging if you're purchasing an S or an X by using my cousin Pat's referral code. It's Patrick5008. So you can either give that to a sales advisor or use this short link that'll take you to the Tesla Design Studio with the code already implemented. So type in ts.la/Patrick5008. If you're purchasing a Model 3 or any Tesla, really, and you happen to be either in the Bay Area or taking delivery at the factory, maybe, I would highly encourage you to check out Immaculate Reflections. They've got 16 years of experience. They're the Bay Area's premier detailing solution. If you're thinking about paint correction, you're thinking about Seaquart's finest ceramic coating, maybe some paint protection film, you can get any or all of those services done at Immaculate Reflections. You can visit their website at irdetailing.com. They're also on Yelp and Instagram at Immaculate_Reflections. So take a look there. What else? Of course, Abstract Ocean. The puddle lights have proven very popular. They've been sending out emails saying basically last call for the holidays. If you want them in time for the holidays, those puddle lights that shine the Model S, X, or 3 or Tesla T logo onto the ground with the light that's on the bottom of your door on your Tesla. They look very, very cool. You can get those at abstractocean.com along with a number of other Tesla accessories for both you and your car. Use the coupon code RTLPodcast at checkout to get 20% off of your first order there. I want to close not only by encouraging you to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast service if you don't already, so that the show is downloaded right to you. That's iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, or grab the RSS feed or individual episodes at the hosting site, which is teslapodcast.libsyn, LIBSYN.com. But I, of course, want to thank the Patreon producers, the extraordinarily kind and generous folks who support me and my efforts on this podcast at the $20 level or higher each and every month. Our newest Patreon producer, Orion Coates, welcome and thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate that. Orion is joined by Jeff Bartram, Paul Hussey, DJ Harbaugh, Pete White, Wolfgang Obergen, George Cassiopo, David Brander, Jonathan Wales, Scott Gillis, Michael Lucas, Alexi Heft, Lisa Kaz, Michael O'Prey, Logan Willis, Matthew Para, Michael Lester, Robert Miracle, John Lasher, Jason Chalukas, Emotion Rentals, Richard Ouellette, Andreas Cohen, Sean Fournier, Tim Hyde, Marcus Mayenschein, Lee Sweet, and Lars Hoffman. Thank you all so much. And thanks to all of you, as always, for trusting me with your very, very valuable time each and every week here to catch you up on all things Tesla and give you my take on things. And, of course, your take on things in the Ride to Lightning hotline as well. It's, it's 2.5 years on this podcast now. Episode 123. I love it. I mean, I just think hopefully the show gets a little bit better each and every week, one way or the other. But man, it's really fun for me. So thank you all so much for coming along on this Tesla podcast journey with me. Happy electric motoring, and I will see you back here next week.